Hey everyone, welcome to Better Content Everywhere. This is the podcast that helps you create clear, consistent, and compelling content. Our digestible, bingeable episodes give you one key learning in each episode in a format that fits into the space that you have in your day-to-day. So in this episode, we're going to build on our last episode about clarity, with the next important piece in content strategy, consistency. So let's talk about it. So now that we've laid out our key messages here, and we've gotten really clear around those messages and our purpose, we have to make sure that we have some consistency in both our message and in that cadence of outreach. So it's not enough really for us to, blitz the market with our offering for 3 months and then just go dark. That's not going to work today, right? In today's content-heavy culture, we really need to find a sustainable cadence where we can stay in front of our customers and those potential customers, talking to them about how we're solving their problems for them, right? How we are the perfectly suited people to do that. So that means we need to create a much broader and a much larger view. And I like to do that with an editorial content plan, because that's going to help us determine what we're going to do, how often are we going to do it, and where ultimately that's all going to go. So I really advise people to build out their calendars by putting those major campaigns that are known for the year into the calendar, but don't try to build a completely comprehensive calendar for the full year. It would be great if you could do that and have it fully mapped out and you know exactly what content is going out at any given moment for 365 days. But guess what? It's going to change, or at least if you're doing it right, it really should change. So, put in things like, the back to school ice cream socials that you're going to be sponsoring. Put in those campaigns around the holidays, right? Those seasonal kind of promotions. Put those into your calendars, kind of anchor points. Those are things you're going to know. So again, we're going back to our ice cream shop example from our clarity episode, where we are a community focused ice cream shop and we are coming to market in a new place. So that's what we're doing. We're setting up those kind of key campaign moments for us. So it's all about ice cream socials. It's all about connecting with people around the holidays. Great. Everything else is going to go into this editorial plan that we're going to approach in kind of a tech focused way. If you're familiar with software development, they call them sprints. So we're going to kind of break that down for you in that way. So if we're sitting down to plan a calendar for the year, it might look a little bit like this to start. So those first 90 days, right? Q1 should be detailed and really dialed in. You know exactly what you're doing here, and you're going to execute this plan exactly as you laid it out. Don't get crazy. Don't deviate too quickly, because you're going to drive yourself nuts doing that. Those second 90 days, so Q2, from the moment that you're creating this plan, those should be mostly baked, but with a little bit of room in there to be able to flex as you learn from those first 90 days. So if you might, in our ice cream shop example, you might have a campaign running for those first 90 days where you're going to do some targeted social, right? And you want to put those out into the world and see how that goes. But you don't want to jump from that in those first 90 days, because you won't have anything to really look at and any data to measure to see if it was really working or not. But in that second 90 days, you might have some stuff in there around increasing the amount of social spend that you put out into the world and the content you create there. You might find in those first 90 days that in fact is not a good use of your resource. And instead, you might need to spend more time doing community events, right? And creating things at schools and at local establishments instead of being so heavily focused on a social presence. So that's what I'm kind of talking about here. Being able to give yourself room to measure some of those results as you're going in those first 90, to look at those second 90 and make sure you can make adjustments as you are going through that. The third 90 days here, as you're looking at this plan, it's going to be higher level themes and events. You're going to fill this in really towards the end of Q1 as you think about what's been working and you start to adapt some of those tactics that are driving back to your ultimate strategies, right? So this is this editorial plan and this calendar is really meant to be like a dynamic document, and you should be changing it as you go. But again, when you're in those 90 days of when you're executing, you really need to be executing those at a very high level and measuring that as you go. So Q4 is going to be a lot like Q3. It's high level themes and events. And this is one you're going to, as you go, when you get towards the end of Q2, you've got more data, more learnings, and you can apply those and adjust and adjust and adjust. So then at that point, you're cruising, right? You've got several sprints to go through and you're just cruising throughout the year. Now, obviously, throughout this process, you have to analyze and evaluate those efforts because if you're not measuring it, you might as well not be doing it, because otherwise your plan can't evolve and you can't optimize, and you really spend a lot of time for no good reason working on some of this stuff. So make sure you measure it. We'll get into that in another episode. But friends, thanks for listening. Make sure you like us, make sure you rate us, make sure you do all those things. And until the next time, look, 3 things: keep it clear, keep it consistent, and keep it compelling.